Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Ready for the event.
Fox News, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Shannon Bream with Fox News Sunday. How do you hear me?
Hi, Shannon. This is Chris Williams on the International Space Station. I hear you loud and clear. How about me?
Sounds great on this end. And your stream looks great, too. I didn't know we would get to see you as well. Congratulations on making it there safely.
Thank you so much. It's it's been a great experience so far, and I really appreciate all the support.
Okay, Chris, I want to start here. What in the world is it like? What are the emotions when you get the notification you are going into space for 8 months, no less?
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, this has been something that I've dreamed about ever since I was a little kid and worked towards, my whole life. And it's not something I ever thought I'd have the chance to do. And it's really a huge responsibility. We have this wonderful laboratory up here, and being entrusted to kind of help take care and push forward the science that we're doing on it is it's a real honor. It was also pretty tough because I've got little kids, so thinking about being gone away from them for 8 months was hard. But knowing all the interesting stuff we're doing up here makes it worthwhile.
Well, my good friend, your uncle, Juan Williams, is imminently proud of you, and he talks about how much this has been a source of joy for your entire family and that you are making a sacrifice. But I got to think, with the holidays as well, does that make it even more challenging with small children to be away knowing you're going to miss Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it hard, but it also, in some ways, makes it easy. I think one of the things that I've been so lucky with is just seeing how much people come together around something like this to help support each other. And, the amount of support that my wife and my kids have from my family on the ground and from just all my coworkers, from everybody, our neighbors, is just overwhelming. So, I mean, I think it's hard to be away from my family for the holidays, but also I get to spend some really awesome holidays here with my space family, which is really, really a pleasure.
So let's talk about where you are, the International Space Station, at a time when Washington can't stop fighting over budgets and how to spend money and where to spend it. Why is the work that you're doing there important, and how does it move us toward other space exploration, whether it's back to the moon or eventually to Mars?
It's a great question. The International Space Station has been operating continuously for over 25 years with people on it. We actually just celebrated the 25th anniversary earlier at the beginning of November of having this continuously inhabited. And it's a special place because it's a place that we can only do, there's some research that can only be done here, research that involves microgravity. And so this is helping us both on Earth with solving problems. We've been working on things like developing drugs, working on new ways of forming crystals that you can really only do in microgravity. But it's also helping us get further on. This is a great test bed for a lot of the technologies that we need for going to the moon with the Artemis program, which we're embarking on right now, and also further on to Mars. I'm up here for an 8-month mission, and that is coincidentally a similar time frame that we think a flight out to Mars might take. And so we're doing a lot of studies. I'm involved in a lot of studies on how does being in space for this amount of time affect the human body? How do we keep ourselves healthy? What does it do to us? We're also doing a bunch of scientific experiments looking at some of the technologies that are key for getting out to Mars. So things like life support systems. How do we remove carbon dioxide from the air? We have test demonstrators on the space station for those technologies that we're going to be using on Mars missions. We're also looking at some things like how do fluids behave in microgravity, which is pretty important for transferring fluids between two vehicles, which is something that we're thinking of in our architecture for how to get back to the moon.
So how do you prepare for a mission of this import and this length? I mean, physically, mentally, professionally, what goes into getting ready?
Yeah, a lot goes into getting ready. It's about a 2-year process from when you get assigned to a mission to when you fly, and you do a lot of technical training. So learning all of the systems on the space station, how to fix them, and also a lot of the science experiments that you're going to be doing. You learn sort of what are the basics, what are the skills you need to do the science experiments we know that we're going to do, but also the ones that maybe haven't even been thought up yet, but we'll try to execute during the 8 months that I'm up here. We also do things like practice spacewalking for any repairs or upgrades or experiments we might be doing outside the space station. And then you also work on preparing, your personal life, your family, being ready, trying to get into a frame of mind where you're building the support network and the community that you need to be away for 8 months, but make sure that everybody's in good shape back at home.
So you do 2 years of preparation to go on this mission, but I got to ask you, now that you're actually there, there's nothing else like that except being out there. What's the universe look like from your perch at this point?
I got to say, one of the most incredible things I've ever seen was the first time we have a module on the space station called the cupola, which basically has windows looking down at Earth. It's almost kind of a full hemisphere that you can look out at. And I would say that the first time that I got to look out at that and see the Earth below me, I mean, that was just absolutely breathtaking. I've always been one of those people that likes to sit in the window seat on an airplane, but this is just entirely next level. I mean, just realizing that you're flying over continents, it was absolutely breathtaking. I think, astronauts, I'd heard this before, often say that you see the Earth as this fragile thing, and you don't see the borders of countries, and it might sound a little bit trite, but boy, that really does hit home when you look at the Earth from up here, just how fragile it is, but how just sort of one place it is as well.
Well, and the space station is a good illustration of that, because you're working with people from other countries and ones that we may have some disputes with here back on Earth. I mean, but there is an international framework and cooperation for what you're doing there. How important is that to the success of these missions?
It's absolutely essential. I mean, this place would not work without the cooperation of everybody involved. I'm actually, I was going to say standing, but I'm actually floating here in the Japanese module, the GEM on our station. Staring across I'm staring across at the European module, and I came up here on a spaceship with 2 cosmonauts launched from Kazakhstan, and every piece of the station plays a really important role in allowing us to carry out our mission. And so, yeah, without cooperation, we can't do all this amazing research. And this research is really for the good of all humanity. And so the fact that we can, have our disagreements on Earth, but still collaborate here to work together for the benefit of all, I think is really, really powerful.
I'm curious, and I always wonder this, how do you guys keep a schedule? How do you sleep? Do you work on a 24-hour rotation? I mean, just the logistics of what you're doing and how you get rest and how you function in a way that's so different, I would imagine, or maybe it's not, than here on Earth.
Yeah, it's actually not too different. On the space station, we work on Greenwich Mean Time, so same time zone as England, and we wake up. We have actually a little scheduling app that kind of has our tasks for the day, but wake up at around let's get to work starting at around 7:30 in the morning. We usually have some time built in. It's pretty important for our bodies to exercise, so we have a couple hours of exercise every day. But basically, we have a schedule where our kind of day is broken down into sort of 15-minute chunks where we have tasks that we do, and then at the end of the day, we actually get a little bit of downtime to call our families, to call home, read a book, something like that, and go to sleep. And one thing I'll say, having been up here for still less than a week, boy, you sleep. At least I sleep extremely comfortably up here. It's like, you're floating. It's like kind of floating in a bathtub. I've slept extremely well up here.
Well, I want to ask your advice as well, because your uncle Juan wrote such a moving piece in the Washington Post just about what this means to not only your family, but to our country, to the world, the work that you're doing, the sacrifice that you're making. But he talks about you being a little kid in your onesie pajamas with rockets and planes and outer space on them. So this obviously is a dream. You talked about working your whole life to get to this point. What's your advice to a young person who has the same kinds of dreams that you do about pushing these boundaries and going to new places?
I really appreciate that question because it's something that I think is super important. I mean, for me, the path I took in life, I was always fascinated by space and exploration. And, I think I'd realized by the time I was about 11 years old that actually being an astronaut wasn't actually an attainable dream, but the spark of the idea of space exploration always stuck with me. And it stuck with me and it inspired me to pursue a lot of the things that I did. I ended up studying physics and becoming an astronomer, and then working in medicine. And nobody in my family before me had ever done anything like this. And it was only because I had that dream and that spark and that excitement and never really lost it that I sort of felt comfortable enough to take these leaps and these jumps to say, you know what, maybe I could actually get a PhD in physics. Maybe that's something I could do. Because I think, there can be a lot of things in the world that tell you there are things that you can't do. But having that dream and that spark, I think, opens up doors that are there for you, but you might not realize. And so I think that's something I think is really important to take home is that when you dream and when you have dreams, it makes you realize your full potential. And I think that was certainly certainly the case for me. I think I was very fortunate enough to become an astronaut, but even the dream of becoming an astronaut took me to a lot of places in life I wouldn't have gotten to otherwise, and I would have been extremely happy and thrilled to get there regardless. Obviously, I'm also extremely excited to be here, but I think just following your dreams takes you to a lot of really interesting places.
Now, we talked a little bit about your perspective from where you are. I wonder how it makes you feel in a bigger picture. Um, to be able to look down on Earth, to be able to look out to these other frontiers that we want to try to achieve and explore and get there as well. Um, I've heard other astronauts and people talk about sort of the smallness that you feel in the midst of all of that. But for you personally, what is the feeling looking out on these different frontiers?
Yeah, I think the smallness is definitely a big one. I think realizing that when I look out the window and I see the Earth, that like everybody I know and care about and love is well, there's a few people around me that I care about and love, but pretty much everybody else is right down there below me on this thing that I can see, and that was pretty powerful because realizing that as we try to explore. We're getting away from home. We're getting away from all the things, and that's a really big step to take. One other little anecdote I'll share is when we were launching in our rocket, I had there's a pretty small window next to my seat on the capsule, and one of the first things I saw when we looked out. When we got into orbit was it was actually I saw the sun rising, and right above it I saw the moon, and that to me it was just absolutely gorgeous. But it also really put into perspective that in hopefully a couple months and four of my friends are going to be blasting off to there, and as part of the Artemis program, as part of our Artemis 2 mission to take humans back to the moon, and. I thought a lot about them in that moment of seeing that about, boy, I feel like I'm far away. They're going real far away.
Well, thank you for giving us some perspective, taking time out of your mission there. We are going to stay in contact with what you are doing over the months to come. I know I speak for your uncle and so many others. They're so proud of you, especially somebody from this DMV area where I live and work and broadcast from. And just wish you the safest travels and study while you are there. And I got to say, this is truly an out of this world interview in many ways. So thank you, Chris, for your time. Happy holidays.
It's really my pleasure, and give my regards to my uncle. I was so glad he was able to come to Mission Control and watch my launch, and along with some of my cousins, and it was a really special experience. And I'm really glad that we were able to connect and talk. This has been a fun experience. One of the joys of being up here is not just the work that we do, but being able to share it with folks on the ground and share the absolute wonder that being up here can give. So I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to chat with you and your viewers. So thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.